Hello, I've got a juniper here. It's a prescumbens nana, supposed to be a really good variety for bonsai, so I'm quite excited about working on this today. Before I get started on working on that juniper, I wanted to show you just a few of my other trees to kind of give you an idea of the style that I'm going for when I'm working on junipers. Over the past 12 to 18 months, I've collected about 30 of these trees in all different varieties, and I'm following the same kind of, roughly the same idea with all of them. My basic philosophy is fairly straightforward. What I'm trying to do is remove any major flaws and create material which will be interesting as a bonsai further down the line. Obviously every tree is different. You can see here this one is basically a twin trunk. And I'm just sort of leaving it to extend, and hopefully, you know, in 2 or 3 years maybe that'll be worth styling. This is quite an interesting tree. You can see using wire I've really contorted, twisted all the branches around. There's a little piece of wire left on there that's just holding a branch that tore, and kind of that was what I was going for with this tree, is to just make something that will look old in a few years' time. This one wasn't as successful. I think it was only £4, this one. There was only basically, when I'd taken the sort of the branches and everything off, there was only really 2 branches. I twisted them around. Hopefully they'll kind of grow and develop over the next 3 or 4 years, and that might be an interesting trunk, and probably this over here will become the main leader going upwards like that. I just wanted to show you this one before I start work on the juniper, because look at the length of the extensions on the branches. I'm leaving them to grow, and the reason I'm doing that is because ultimately I'm trying to develop the trunk. I want the trunk to thicken. I want this to become a bonsai, you know, in the next few years. If I keep cutting these back in order to try and make it look like a bonsai now, it's going to be many more years for me to thicken that trunk up. So I'll leave these to grow. They can be cut back at any time. I've never worked on the prescumbens, but I can see why it's popular. It's lovely and soft. It's not spiky like the common juniper. So let's have a look and see what I've got. I'm taking it out of the pot, but I don't really plan on doing any root work with this. Famous last words. But what I do need to do is remove just an inch or so at the base, just so I can get a view of the trunk. I think this tree cost me about £11. Wasn't from one of the cheap nurseries that I go to, but the cheaper places didn't have any of this prescumbens nana, so I had to go to a bit of an expensive garden centre. But even so, you know, £11, I don't think it's too bad. Especially, as I say, because it does look so healthy. Now, I'm not doing anything with that root base, as I say. That was just to kind of clear off the rubbish and give me a view of the trunk. So first of all, let's get close in and see what we're dealing with. I've tilted it back, and you can see here the reason that I selected this tree is because it naturally has got a lovely curve off to one side. I've got a stump here that I'll get rid of, another stump, and I quite like that first branch. What we've got here is like a classic bar branch. So it's coming right across the trunk. I want to keep one. I really like this branch here, so I'll want an opposing branch. So even though I can't see the rest of the tree, I know that that one's going to be removed. And that's quite a lot of foliage, just that branch alone there is around 25% of the tree. So I've got to be careful how much more I remove. So as I explore further up the tree, it's showing me a nice curve. So it's coming up, round. Yeah, it's good. I do have a lot of junipers that are very sprawling low ones, so I like the idea that this is a more upright style. I just need to make some decisions up at the top because it's so dense. I need to remove some of this, and I need to try and see sort of what I'm dealing with. So the first thing is to just remove some of that sort of inner growth. And that's revealed a fork at the top, which is great. As I've gone higher up the tree, there's a couple of branches here. There's some small stuff round here, around the back. But the main trunk comes up and then divides into two. And I need to make a decision on this, which one of these I want to keep. And to balance the composition, because it's moving this way, I want to take the tree that way and take that off. That didn't have too much foliage on it, which is good, because I don't want to remove too much and weaken this juniper. There we go. Now I can now see a little further down, and I've got this branch here, these two. This one's quite thick, whereas this one below it is thinner, which is going to be better for the sort of impression of a real tree. We don't want big thick branches up at the top. And that was quite a large amount, so that'll be my final cut. Because I think it's got some potential, this tree, I'm putting it in not a bonsai pot, but a proper bonsai training pot, which not many of my trees get treated to, so it's a lucky one, this one. Just going to slightly break the bottom up a little bit, plant it in there, I'd say I've taken about 40% off. I'd say, yeah, definitely 35–40%, which is a lot, but I think it'll be fine with me not messing with the roots. It's going in a nice pot. All of the branches that are left have got a nice bit of foliage on them, so there's no reason now why this won't grow on strongly, and all I'll do is water and feed this, and that's it. After I've watered this tree in, it'll go over with my other junipers, and then I'm going to propagate some of these cuttings. The next process for this may be in the winter, when I might look at adding some wire to manipulate a few of the branches, depending upon where they are sort of sitting. But because they look like they're in quite good places, I probably won't have to add any wire, but we'll just see. But for today, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon.